What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Behind Show. We are live on YouTube, and today I have a special guest joining me, Griffin, and the YWC Football Talk Podcast. How you doing today, Griffin?
I'm doing good, man. Super Bowl Sunday, everything else coming up. You know what? Like I always say, Super Bowl Sunday is kind of like a sad time of the year as well because we don't get NFL football until September after this. But you know what? It's the big games here. Can't complain at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to look forward to. I mean, you have the old and Tom Brady and the new and Patrick Mahomes, and this is going to be a great Super Bowl. And these teams have already played once this season on November 29th, and the Chiefs defeated the Buccaneers 27-24. And, you know, if you look at the stats, you kind of thought this game would be a lot more high scoring. But, you know, Brady and Mahomes combined for nearly 800 passing yards. And, you know, Tyreek Hill had over 200 receiving yards just in the first quarter alone. And it's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be in Tampa Bay. It's the first time any team will be hosting a Super Bowl in their home stadium. So what are you looking forward to the most about this upcoming Super Bowl on this upcoming Sunday?
More than anything with this game, the one thing I'm most looking forward to is everyone says the Mahomes-Brady battle, but obviously they're not on the field at the same time. I'm looking most forward to the battle of minds where you have Eric Bieniemy on one sideline, you're going to have Todd Bowles on the other sideline. These are two guys right here where, you know what, they're great coordinators. Bowles, obviously, we know is not the best head coach. He flamed out in New York. But with Eric Bieniemy, up-and-coming coordinator, still, even though we don't know the whole job thing, that's another road I don't want to go down, excuse me. But the big thing with this Sunday with those two is, look, Eric Bieniemy is going to have a game plan out. He always does it with Patrick where he's going to go out there and do whatever's best for Patrick to win. Now with Bowles is where it gets interesting because if Todd Bowles goes out there and overcomplicates things, that's where you're going to get burned. But if he goes out there, you know what, runs a four. I was going to say, actually, you know what he's got to do best? He's got to brush the passer. He's got to play two safeties deep because he cannot have one-on-one coverage with guys like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce because his front seven's his front seven. His front seven's played great all year. They've had their moments, but then again, every NFL team has their ups and downs. That Tampa secondary in this playoffs has really come to life. We will see if guys like Antoine Winfield play. Murphy Bunting has been great. Carlton Davis, even trying to think of the other guy. Jamel Dean. Like guys like that have really stepped up, and that's what it takes to win in the playoffs. Because like obviously with Kansas City, sure their defenses have played great, but then again, like Cleveland kind of shot themselves in the foot defensively, and then also too Buffalo is just playing. Buffalo played it safe a lot in the AFC Championship game, which came back to burn them. Meanwhile, with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady, I do not expect that to happen, and that's why I say the coaching matchup is one that really intrigues me because like look. At the end of the day, it's a coaching chess match. Like both sidelines have great coaching experience, even too with Steve Spagnuolo. I almost said Ryan for some reason. Steve Spagnuolo going up against Byron Leftwich. So it's going to be very interesting to see what truly goes on Sunday.
It's going to be really interesting, like you said. And since these two teams played on November 29th, neither one of these starting quarterbacks has lost a game. That's something else to, really look at. The Chiefs did lose the final week of the season, but Patrick Mahomes did not play that game. And I think, you look at the head coaching wise, I would give it to Andy Reid over Bruce Arians, but you mentioned Bieniemy and Todd Bowles. Tampa Bay's defense has been very underrated this season. Obviously Bieniemy has done a great job with Kansas City, but that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But something else to me, Fisher, their starting tackle, is out for the Kansas City Chiefs. Shaq Barrett, I mean, he's had over 15 sacks the last two seasons. I wouldn't be surprised, if Tampa Bay brings the blitz on Mahomes a decent amount in this game, makes him get the ball off quickly. And I think for this game, if Tampa Bay would want to win, they're going to need the pressure. I mean, I think Devonta White will be a key factor for Tampa Bay. Barrett, like I mentioned. But I think Fisher being out for Kansas City may be a bigger issue than some people are realizing.
You know what it is, but at the same time, too, I'm going to counter that argument with Todd Bowles blitz. He can blitz, but just don't overdo it. You overdo the blitz against someone like Patrick Mahomes, you're going to get burned. It's as simple as that. But if he goes out there and just, leaves it simple, just make your pass rush effective and play man coverage. If you complicate things and run either a nickel defense zone or even blitz, that's where you have the potential to get burned by guys like Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. And that's the other thing, too, with the Eric Fisher thing. I expect Travis Kelce to be more involved in a blocking role. He'll still get a fair amount of catches, obviously. He's one of the best tight ends in the league. But I would not be shocked if they use him in a lot of blocking schemes when it comes to running the ball, especially, too, because not only is Eric Fisher up, and Mitchell Schwartz is also questionable, I believe, because with guys like Andrew Wiley and I think Mike Remmers. With Wiley and Remmers, it's not like Fisher and it's not like Schwartz. So you know what? With the backups, you've got to rely on your tight ends to block well in this game.
Talking about some matchups, Kelsey and also Barrett, on the off the edge for Tampa Bay with Fisher being out. So is there like a favorite matchup for you in the Super Bowl Sunday?
You know what? I'm going to go a different route with this. I was going to say the Tampa Bay defense, but you know what? I'm going to go with the Kansas City defense blocking Leonard Fournette because Leonard Fournette's honestly come to life in this playoffs. It took him a long time to get going in the regular season, but they've used him effectively. Byron Leftwich is, you know what? I've kind of knocked on him a bit just because I've seen all the stuff he's doing with Tom Brady. But you know what? You let Brady be that general that he is. You let him run the proper play calls. That's where it gets good. So you know what? I'm looking forward to that front seven blocking Leonard Fournette. The Kansas City run game, obviously, they got like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell, but none of them have truly like broken out in the playoffs like Leonard Fournette has. Like Leonard Fournette's been a problem. Ronald Jones has been a problem. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is obviously different because he was coming off injury as well, but that's a matchup I really like. And also, too, another one I could also go with like same thing too. Kansas City offense against Tampa Bay defense. Another one to keep your eyes out on for is guys like Tyrann Mathieu and like Sorensen and Breeland going up against those Tampa receivers.
Yeah, to me, something to keep an eye on is Tampa Bay secondary. Just Tampa Bay secondary in general against Tyreek Hill. Like I mentioned, he had over 200 receiving yards in their first quarter when these two teams met. And, when Tampa Bay played Green Bay, they held Devonta Adams 18 yards under his, average during the regular season, and also 5 yards less than yards per catch. His yards per catch for the season was 12. They held him to just 7. And also the week prior, to that game, they played the New Orleans Saints, and they held Michael Thomas without a catch. This Tampa Bay secondary is not what it was when I played in November against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think if they want to win, they have to contain Tyreek Hill. I think Hill will not have nearly as good as a day as he did, when these teams played earlier in the season. But I think, to me, Tyreek Hill against Tampa Bay secondary is going to be a big matchup, and it's going to be really interesting to see how Tampa Bay's defense matches up for Tyreek Hill. And you also, I agree with what you said there with the defense. I mean, I think Kansas City's defense. I think Tampa Bay's offense has been getting better, in my opinion. Tampa Bay's offense, has been getting better for the most part, just about every week the past month or so. Byron Leftwich is starting to make some creative play calls for Brady. Leonard Fournette's starting to go. There's lots of matchups for the Super Bowl, and this to me is why it's one of the most intriguing ones in quite some time. This is going to be a great matchup this upcoming Sunday.
Also, to another thing to look out for as well is that the Tampa Bay offensive line has been playing really well throughout all these playoffs, and that's also too is out there. One of the linemen, Alex Kappa, has been hurt this entire time, so they've been doing it with a backup on there. So we'll see if Kansas City can translate to that. But with Tampa, that's another thing to watch out for. Like guys like Tristan Wirfs, Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, Donovan Smith. Those guys have really stepped up in the playoffs as well. That's why I say the Leonard Fournette thing is such a big factor because they have a good blocking day. There's a very good chance that we see playoff Lenny have a very explosive day Sunday night.
And we talked about a favorite Super Bowl matchup. And next is one under the radar player to watch out for. And to me, I think somebody that people need to watch out for is Devin White, the linebacker at Tampa Bay. You mentioned Kelsey's maybe more so blocking this game, but even if Kelsey has some targets, I think he has to watch out for Devin White. I know he's not a great pass rusher, but he's just a good tackler. He's not a great in coverage, but he's good all around, great tackler. This season for Tampa Bay, Devin White had 4 pass deflections, he had 9 sacks, and he had 140 tackles. I think he could be somebody to watch out for in this game, and I think he's going to he also had, I believe, 15 tackles when they played against the Packers. I think he's going to be a huge piece of the Buccaneers defense if they're going to win this game.
For as good as a matchup there is, I actually have two on both sides, and none of them are defensively. For Tampa, I'm going Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller is someone that from when the moment Brady signed with Tampa, I knew this guy was going to have impacts. Why? Because Tom likes, and people may judge me for this, but small white slot receivers. Tom loves those kind of players. If you look back at his playoff runs in New England, he was throwing to like Danny Amendola, Chris Hogan, Julian Edelman, Wes Welker. So Scotty Miller's someone to really watch out for. And on the Kansas City side of the ball, Sammy Watkins, watch out for him. He's been hurt, but I do expect him to play. And when he gets in there, he can make an impact.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Watkins. Somebody to me also is Nicole Hardman. I know lots of people, when a defense plays the Kansas City Chiefs, they kind of go towards, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And when a wide receiver and tight end duo on the same team, that's one of the best it's ever been statistically this season. But I think Nicole Hardman with his speed, I wouldn't be surprised, if he had about 50 or 60 yards for Kansas City's, offense. But I think it's going to be a really great game. I also agree with what you said with Scotty Miller. Since these teams are so great, there's so many under the radar players to watch out for. Shaquille Barrett, the edge rusher for Tampa Bay, is another one. But I'm just really excited for this game. So do you have a bold prediction for the Super Bowl?
Bold prediction for the Super Bowl. Yes, I believe that there will be at least one strip sack on either quarterback throughout this game. Whether it's Mahomes, whether it's Brady, I believe, for as good as pass protection has been for both offensive lines, Devin White did it week 12. That's something that I think a lot of people notice just because of the offensive explosion. But Devin White did get to Patrick Mahomes in that week 12 game. And also, look, Brady sits in the pocket for too long unprotected. That's a problem. But if that, guys like Chris Jones, who's the other guy I'm looking out for? There's a linebacker. I'm blanking on his name right now. Or even Tyrann Mathieu, guys like that. Look, Spagnuolo is going to use the blitz. If you look back at Super Bowl 42, he was effective with it. Look at how Michael Strahan got to Tom Brady. It's the same sort of thing with Kansas City. Spagnuolo knows how to play Tom Brady. So I expect, honestly, there to be a strip sack at some point in this game.
To me, I kind of thought of a couple, but the one that stands out to me, during the regular season, Mahomes played in 15 games for the Chiefs, and he was sacked 22 times. I think, that's pretty good, less than 1.5 a game. But to me, I think Mahomes will get sacked 3 times. I think Fisher being out has a big part of it. But Devin White and Barrett combined have over 15 sacks. You have a nice defensive line that was able to contain Aaron Jones. They were able to contain, Aaron Rodgers that make Aaron Rodgers look really, really bad at times in the playoffs just a couple of weeks ago. This defense is really underrated. I just really think they have a possibility to get 3 sacks. Todd Bowles has done a fantastic job with Tampa Bay this season, and I think they're going to be much improved, and I think they're going to be much more focused and much more prepared than this time than they were when they played each other earlier in the season in November.
By the way, the one player I was looking out for as well for the Kansas City defense is L'Jarius Sneed, by the way. He's kind of coming into his own in the playoffs, 5th-round pick. So it's guys like that in the draft that really can help you at these critical moments. Also, to another receiver to watch out for is Tyler Johnson with things. So for everybody in 2019 saying, Brady's throwing rookie to receivers, well, guess who made one of the biggest receptions or who Brady targeted in one of the most critical moments of the NFC Championship game? A 5th-round rookie receiver out of Minnesota.
So we'll go. Let's see here. We'll go Super Bowl prediction. What is your prediction for the score prediction for the Super Bowl?
For everyone who's thinking this could be an offensive explosion, this could be a Big 12-style football game, I just don't see that happening because I think the defenses will get involved either way. Honestly, I'm very tempted to say a low-scoring game, and I think I'm going to go that route. I'm going to say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win this game 24-20. You know what? For everyone saying, because last time it was only 27-24, and for as much of an offensive explosion it can be, I think this is going to be a very defensive-minded football game, and I know the casual fan's probably going to hate that, but football guys like that kind of football sometimes. Obviously, it's not the best. We saw it in Super Bowl 53. We saw it in Super Bowl 50. But it wouldn't shock me if it was that kind of game.
In the NFL nowadays, you win with your quarterback, and you win with, whoever has the better quarterback. More than likely, you're going to win. But if you also have a good defense, too, that has a big part to do with it. And to me, I do think, the defenses, for more so Tampa Bay, I think will carry Tampa Bay to a victory. I would say 27-20. I think they're going to be able to contain Mahomes. Tom Brady is the only person to defeat Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. I mean, I think, I mean, you can't bet against Brady. Going into the season, I did not expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the NFC South. I picked the Saints to win the NFC South. But I thought they would lose to the Saints. I thought they would lose to the Packers. At this point, like, it's just stupid to bet against Brady as much as he's done, and especially this season. But I mean, I really think Tampa Bay's defense is going to step up, sack Mahomes a couple of times, maybe even have him throw an interception or two. But I'm really intrigued by this Tampa Bay defense, and I think they have enough what it takes to defeat Kansas City and hold them to just 20 points.
Also, another fun fact about Tom Brady's Super Bowls, he's only, like, his points scored in the first quarter, I think, is like 3 out of his 10 Super Bowls that he's been in. So he always gets off of those slow starts in the Super Bowl. So that's just something else to look out forward to. And the only games where Tom Brady scored over 30 in the Super Bowl, I believe, was Super Bowl 38, not 42, not 46, not even 49, only Super Bowl 36, Super Bowl 51, and 52. So out of his 9 Super Bowls, only 3 of them has he gotten over 30 points. So that's just something else to watch out for, too. I don't know what the over-under is, but also with the spread, I believe it's Kansas City at 3 right now. So I wouldn't be shocked if either team did cover that and we got a very close game. But at the same time, too, I'm still leaning towards Tampa and that Tom gets number 7.
So as we both have, Tampa Bay winning, who would you say would be your Super Bowl MVP pick?
You know what? For as much as you can say Tom Brady, I'm not going that route. I'm going defensive. I'm going Devin White. Devin White's been honestly one of the best young linebackers in the league right now. Him and Devonta David are the best 1-2 punch linebacking combo in the NFL. They come after you. They are gonna hit you. Like Devin White has a lot of that like Luke Kuechly sense in him. Where to look, he's just great at spotting the ball. I don't really know if he's the play caller or the defensive play caller, or like that like whole line captain of the defense, but Devin White's just that guy where, look, you run to the outside, he's going to be there waiting for you. You run to, like, whether it's the right side or the left side, he's going to be waiting right there. So I expect Devin White. That's why I mentioned the whole strip sack thing earlier. Like, I do believe Devin White's going to have that impact play. Because if you look at Super Bowl 50, like, Von Miller never got the defensive touchdown, but Von Miller made it a living nightmare for Cam Newton in that game. So if Devin White has that kind of performance and stops Patrick Mahomes, it'd be tough for him not to say MVP. One other thing quickly, too, because you know how we were talking about the whole Kansas City, like Tyreek Hill having 200-yard thing? If he has a game like that, I think it's going to be very tough for the media to pick him as MVP just because of his past. That's just something else to look out for, too, as a note for this game.
Yeah, I love that Devin White pick. I actually have Shaquille Barrett, winning. I think he's going to have couple of sacks. I think him and Devin White, is also somebody to watch out for. I would not be surprised if he would win it. And some people may say, a defensive, player winning the Super Bowl MVP, that's kind of stupid. But I mean, look, Malcolm Smith won it with the Seattle Seahawks. It's definitely possible. And as many playmakers as Tampa Bay's defense has, with their linebackers, with Devonta David, Devin White, Barrett, and Jamal Dean, secondary players who I think will step up in this game. I think, I'll take Barrett on my Super Bowl MVP pick. So since we both have Tampa Bay winning the Super Bowl, if Tampa Bay were to win the Super Bowl, now this is just if, not saying he should, but if Tampa Bay wins the Super Bowl, do you believe Tom Brady should retire?
Nah, he's going to be back next year. Look, he's got guaranteed money. I don't think he's going to screw over the organization like that. He's just not that kind of person. Like, for everyone saying, too, he screwed over New England, he left the cupboard bare. Yeah, like, New England didn't have any weapons this year. But at the same time, too, it was a disagreement between him and Belichick. Brady wanted 2 years. Belichick would only give him 1 year, so he decided to leave. Meanwhile, I feel like he's going to fulfill his contract and play with Jason Light. But for all we know Sunday, if he wins, he could be up on – well, I usually would like to say he's up on that podium with, like, it's like boxers like Terry Bradshaw or like Jim Nantz or someone like that. You know how they're up there on the stage with them when they present the Super Bowl. Also, too, I say Jim Nantz because I see in my memories 2 years ago when he won in Atlanta with the Rams, there was Tom's daughter in his arms and Jim Nantz was interviewing him. I don't think it'll be that case this year. That's why the Super Bowl is going to be very interesting, too, just because of all the factors with COVID and everything. But I do believe he'll be back. But at the same time, too, if he were to win 7, honestly, wouldn't shock me. Like, it's like, what else do you have to prove? But then again, you know what, Tom? Because if he retires on top, like he's defeated Father Time. Like we're obviously seeing Drew Brees got defeated by Father Time. That's why I think he's done. But for all, I wouldn't put my money on it. But at the same time, too, I wouldn't be shocked if Tom retired. Also, one thing I want to say too is for everyone back in August who was doubting whether the season would finish or not, like let's just give a round of applause for the fact that they are getting this NFL season done. That's just one thing I wanted to get off my chest. I've said it a lot, and I'll continue to preach to that choir. That, well, you know what, we got 256 games in, and we're going to get the 266 with the playoffs.
Yeah, with it is incredible that the NFL was able to do such a good job. They did have to move, a couple games back, and lots of people were upset about that. But it's better than moving back than not playing them at all. And they did a fantastic job. But with Brady, if Tampa Bay were to win the Super Bowl, I mean, I think he should retire. It's one of those situations where honestly, I don't like Brady, but at the same time, once he retires, it's going to be really, really weird not seeing him play. And it's going to be the same thing. With LeBron, whenever he retires as well, it's like the players for decades, dominate their sport, but once they retire, it's just going to be so strange. And Peyton Manning, when he retired, he went out on top. But it's completely different with Tom Brady because if Tom Brady goes on top, he'll now have more Super Bowl wins than every single freaking NFL team franchise. That's just absolutely insane. Going into the season, some people may say, Brady was nothing without Belichick, and he has the opportunity to win a Super Bowl with his first year in the NFC, and he would already have as many Super Bowl wins in the NFC in just 1 year alone as Aaron Rodgers does his whole career and Drew Brees does his whole career. And, despite, going to be one of his last seasons, this to me, I mean, I would retire because it's like, what more do you have to do? You have 7 wins, more than every team. You're winning it in your home stadium. You're winning it a Super Bowl with another team. You're only 1 or 2 quarterbacks to do that if you succeed with Peyton Manning. And it's just, you really look at it, I think this is one of the more, I know Brady has lots of weapons like Evans and Godwin, Gronkowski, but he's not like he was 5 or 6 years ago. But this is, to me, one of the more challenging Super Bowls Brady has ever won, if they would win on Sunday, because he goes to a whole new team, whole new coaching staff. Byron Leftwich is only, I believe, his second year being an offense coordinator. Rob Gronkowski wasn't playing football last season, and you're going into a really tough division with, Drew Brees. You're able to beat a first-ballot Hall of Famer in Drew Brees. You're able to beat a first-ballot Hall of Famer and Aaron Rodgers. And, if you win, you would beat Patrick Mahomes, who was a top 3 MVP candidate. Not to mention, Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP this year. That's and Mahomes will more likely, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. So that's 3 straight games where he would beat a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback head to head. And this is just really remarkable. And if he were retired, this would really just like prove his legacy, winning with a different team and all the things, they had to overcome this season and everybody he had to beat really proves that, just Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time, and it's not even debatable.
No, it's not. Like, look, the only thing he has left to prove, in my opinion, there's one team out there who he's never beaten before. He gets to play them next year. That's the one thing why I think he's going to want to play next year because, and for those of you who are wondering who it is, it's New England. Next year, Tom Brady will be at Gillette Stadium as a visitor. If the border's open and fans are allowed, I'd like to go, but I'd probably have to take out I don't even own a house yet, but I'd have to take out a mortgage or probably just to afford a ticket to that game. But that's the one reason why too. I think Tom, you know what, he does that. Like, how many players can go out there and say, yeah, you beat all 32 teams in the NFL? Like, I don't think that list is very many people. But I also don't like the whole Belichick Brady argument. Look, both are great in their own ways. I just don't know why we always have to compare. Like, I know the media loves to do it. Why? Because the media basically is the 100 drunk guys in a bar, where it's like, look, at how they're having sports debates, it's just those guys get paid to do it. Now with the whole Brady Belichick thing, look, everyone's great in their own way. Belichick's one of the greatest NFL head coaches of all time. Tom Brady is one of the greatest NFL players of all time, not just quarterback. That being said, though, like I said, Tom's just got that to prove because next year, too, he knows if he stays, they're going to be winning the NFC South next year because New Orleans, they have their bad cap situation, and Atlanta and Carolina's rebuilding, but they're also in that quarterback purgatory because they don't, the fans don't want Bridgewater anymore, and The Falcons are in that weird spot where they're probably going to be losing Matt Ryan or Julio very soon, and they're also in a bad cap situation. So that's what I think factoring him into staying is, look, he knows that how easy it would be to run it back next year. Because I'll also say this hot take too. I think it's easier for Brady to get back next year than Mahomes, because if you look at the AFC, the AFC is only getting better. Meanwhile, the NFC, there is a lot of questions within that conference. I know Matt Stafford's now in Los Angeles, but the NFC has a lot more teams who are knocking on that door. Because also with Kansas City, you know how for the last 20 years it was everyone's trying to knock off New England? Now every time you go into Arrowhead, you want to beat the Chiefs. Everyone's just going to have that extra motivation factor to go in there and beat them.
And with Matthew Stafford, being traded to the Rams, I mean, that's going to be really interesting if Brady would decide to come back, whether they lose or win. But to me, you really look at teams who are going to be good in the NFC. To me, there's about 3-4 teams. I don't see how it's even possible the Packers are going to be nearly as good as they were this past season with Aaron Jones being a free agent. Aaron Rodgers had the best season of his career. Drew Brees is retiring with the Saints, so they're going to suck. The Falcons, to me, I thought this past season they were going to be great. I think they may draft a quarterback at number 4. But I think the only teams who can contend and can compete with the Buccaneers are the teams from the NFC West, like the Seahawks. I think the Cardinals are an underrated team to watch out for. The Rams, to me, are the only team right now who I think can beat the Buccaneers, because they already did it this past season on Monday night. And they looked really good in that game. And with them having Matthew Stafford, I think it'll be interesting. But to me, the Rams are the top team to compete with Tampa Bay next season for the Super Bowl, going to the Super Bowl. That's assuming if Tom Brady would return next season. But if he wins, I mean, if he retires, I totally get it. If he decides to come back, regardless if they win or lose, I think it's going to be. I would be surprised if Tampa Bay wasn't in the Super Bowl. I mean, like I said, I think it's between those two teams with the Buccaneers and the Rams. But it's just really going to be interesting to see, what Tom Brady does. If they win or lose, and it's just really a remarkable career for the best quarterback of all time, one of the best players of all time, and it's going to be really interesting to see. So we kind of talked about Super Bowl matchup, underrated player to watch out for, bowl prediction for the Super Bowl, our Super Bowl MVP pick, and our Super Bowl score prediction. So anything else you'd like to talk about on the show?
You know what? I'm good. I think we covered all the bases. The only other things I want to say too is with the Rams, it's just they have a lot of coaching turnover this year, where they lost a lot of positional coaches. Brandon Staley obviously moved across the hallway to go coach the Chargers. I don't remember his name, but their pass game coordinator or receivers coach, I forget which one, is now the OC in Seattle. So that NFC West is honestly the most talented division. It's just the Rams are going to be very interesting. And I want to see how Matt Stafford adapts to pressure, because he's never really had pressure on him in Detroit before. Not saying he's not going to be good. I'm just saying that NFC West right now is a toss-up. I like Arizona too. It's just they have a lot of stuff to still work out this offseason. I think they need to add a tight end. They have to shore up their offensive line. If they can get another edge rusher, then I think they'll be good. And honestly, Seattle to me is overrated. I think, look, for as good as Russell Wilson is, it's just what they have around him. It's just, you don't really know. And also, like the same thing too there, they had turnover as well. And look at Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams really did not pan out this year, where those first round picks could come into question going forward with them. But besides that, the only other thing actually I want to say as well is, if they don't re-sign Aaron Jones, I would trust Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon in the backfield. Just use that money, go out there, get him a Will Fuller, get him Emmanuel Sanders, even try to go out and get like Kenny Golladay, someone like that. Go get Aaron Rodgers another toy to play with. That's the only thing I got to say. And also, too, one thing with Arizona as well is, if Larry Fitzgerald does call it a career, first ballot Hall of Famer, 100%, one of the best receivers to ever play the game in my mind. And also, too, great player on and off the field, something that doesn't go noticed. And one award that goes out tomorrow night that I think a lot of players like getting is the Walter Payton Man of the Year. So whoever wins it is going to win and wear that patch of honor starting next year.
Yeah, you mentioned Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald, to me, is easily, not even close, the most underrated receiver of all time. I think he's easily top 5. I think you can debate with him if he's top 3 due to, Jerry Rice, he had Montana. Moss had some really good quarterbacks thrown to him. But, with Fitzgerald, he never had that one guy who was always there for him. But, the NFC is going to be really interesting next season. And the Super Bowl, this upcoming Sunday is going to be so interesting and fun to watch, with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. It's going to be a great game. So can you tell some of the listeners who can follow you on social media?
You know what, guys? If you want to find me on Twitter, it's at Mr. Griff B. Instagram is YWC Football Talk. I'm also on TikTok at the handle YWC Football Talk. And also, too, you can find me at Mark Murph on YouTube, where the podcast gets uploaded, and also 2 wrestling videos. Plus, 2 guys, you can find the podcast anywhere you find your podcasts. Plus, now, 2 available on iHeartRadio. So find out, listen to me. I actually have my Super Bowl show coming out tomorrow, and then I have a recap show coming on Monday afternoon. So 2 things to look out forward to coming up soon. And you know what? As the season winds down, I know I call it sad, but off season, as soon as the NFL season is done, it's not like they take a break or anything. No, it's full steam ahead for the next 7 months, where there's debates, there's hot takes, then we have free agency, the draft, schedule coming out, OTAs, all that fun stuff. I still feel like this coming off season is going to be different, but hopefully we get to see some normal with the NFL come September.
Yeah, this offseason is going to be really, really interesting with other quarterbacks, more than likely, going different places. And then, some players maybe not be able to work out with teams due to the coronavirus. The combine's already been affected by it. The draft, in April, it's going to be, interesting to see how the draft goes out as well. But make sure to go follow Griffin on all the social media platforms listed in the description. Make sure to go follow me on the handles, on the banner below. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you next time on the Sports Dude Hunt Show.